stop for a moment. Not casually. Not half distracted while scrolling. I mean really stop. Because there's a question you've been avoiding. One that cuts deeper than motivation, productivity hacks, or the next life-changing video. Why are you still where you are? You've consumed the content, hours of it, maybe hundreds. You've watched people break down success step by step. You've read books that promise transformation. You've listened to podcasts that made everything sound possible. You already know what to do. So why haven't you done it? That gap, the space between what you know and what you actually do, that's not laziness. It's not lack of information. It's not even lack of opportunity. It's something far more dangerous. It's the invisible system of beliefs running quietly in the background of your mind. Beliefs so familiar, so deeply embedded, that you mistake them for truth. And here's the part most people never realize. Those beliefs are not just limiting you, they are constructing your reality. Right now, there exists another version of you. A version that has the discipline you admire, the confidence you wish you had, the skills you keep telling yourself you'll develop someday. That version is not fantasy. It's not reserved for someone else. It's possible. But between who you are today and who you could become, there's a barrier, a wall. And you built it, not in one moment, not in one decision, but slowly, over time, one thought at a time, one assumption at a time, one excuse at a time, brick by brick. And the most dangerous part, you don't even see it. You defend it, you protect it, you argue for it, you call it realistic. Let's be honest. This week alone, you've probably told yourself at least one of these. I'm just not good at that. It's probably too late for me. That's not the kind of person I am. I'll start when I'm more prepared. These sound reasonable. They sound mature. They sound like wisdom. They're not. They're avoidance strategies, carefully disguised as logic. And every time you repeat them, you strengthen the very thing keeping you stuck. Here's the uncomfortable truth you've been dancing around. The biggest obstacle in your life is not your situation. It's not your past. It's not other people. It's you. More specifically, it's the narrative you've built about who you are and what you're capable of. And you're not just believing that narrative, you're defending it as if it's your identity. Today, we're going to tear that apart. We're going to expose the hidden mental patterns that have been quietly sabotaging your growth. We're going to look at how your own mind filters reality in ways that keep you small. And most importantly, we're going to talk about how to break free. But understand this before we go any further. This won't feel good. Growth rarely does. Most people will hear this, nod in agreement, maybe even feel inspired for a few minutes, and then go right back to the same habits, the same thinking, the same life. Don't be one of them. If you're serious about change, not just thinking about it, but actually living it, then you need to face what's really going on inside your head. Let's start there. Your brain is not neutral. It doesn't show you reality as it is. It shows you a version of reality that aligns with what you already believe. Think about that. If you believe you're bad at something, your mind will highlight every mistake you make. It will replay failures. It will magnify embarrassment. But what about the times you improved? The times you figured something out quickly? The progress you've already made? Those get ignored. They don't fit the story, so they get filtered out. This is how people stay stuck for years. Not because they lack ability, but because they are trapped inside a distorted version of reality that keeps confirming their limitations. Then there's the opposite trap. You assume things will somehow work out without preparation. You delay responsibility because consequences feel distant. Until they're not. Life doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It doesn't adjust based on your comfort level. It moves forward, with or without you. Another trap is overconfidence built on shallow understanding. You learn a little, and suddenly you feel like you've mastered it. You stop digging deeper. You stop questioning yourself. You plateau, and you don't even realize it, because in your mind you're already good enough. Meanwhile, someone else keeps learning, keeps improving, keeps pushing, and eventually surpasses you completely. Not because they were smarter, but because they stayed humble enough to remain a student. And then there's the most stubborn pattern of all, holding on to beliefs, even when they're clearly not working. You twist situations to protect your identity. You justify failures. You search for rare exceptions to avoid admitting you might be wrong. Because admitting you're wrong feels like losing. But here's the reality. Clinging to a false belief doesn't protect you. It traps you. Your mind is trying to keep you comfortable. But comfort is not the same as growth. And what protects you from discomfort often prevents you from evolving. Now let's get specific. There are certain beliefs that quietly destroy potential more than anything else. The first one, I'm either naturally good at this or I'm not. This belief has ended more dreams than failure ever could. You see someone excelling and assume they were born with something special. You tell yourself they have a gift you don't, so you don't even try. Or you try briefly, struggle, and quit because it didn't come easily. What you don't see is the repetition, the failures, the frustration, the persistence. You see the outcome, not the process. So you invent a story to make sense of it. But think about your own life. Anything you're good at today, were you instantly good at it? Of course not. You improve through practice. That's how skill works. But somewhere along the way, you decided certain abilities are different, that they're reserved for other people. That's not truth. That's fear wearing a mask. Another destructive belief, if this were right for me, it would feel easier. This is one of the biggest illusions created by modern culture. You're constantly shown polished results, success stories, highlight reels, finished products. You don't see the struggle behind them. So when you start something and it feels hard, you assume something's wrong. You quit. But difficulty is not a sign you're on the wrong path. It's often proof that you're on the right one. Growth is uncomfortable by design. If it were easy, it wouldn't change you. Another common lie, I'll start when I feel ready. You won't. Readiness is not something you wait for. It's something you build through action. Every major step in your life likely happened before you felt fully prepared. Because that's how progress works. You move first. Confidence follows. Waiting to feel ready is just another way of avoiding risk. And then there's this, I already know enough. This one is subtle. You reach a certain level, and you stop pushing, you stop learning, you become comfortable. And slowly, without realizing it, you fall behind. The world changes, standards evolve, new methods emerge. But you're still operating on outdated assumptions. Learning is not optional if you want to grow. It's continuous. One of the most costly illusions you can carry is this idea, I have to figure everything out by myself. It sounds admirable on the surface. It feels strong, independent, self-reliant. But in reality, it's often just ego wearing a more respectable mask. Because true independence isn't about refusing help. It's about knowing when to use it. Think about it. Every person you look up to, every individual who has achieved something meaningful, didn't get there alone. Behind their success are mentors who guided them, teachers who shaped them, people who challenged them, and systems that supported them. No one creates anything significant in complete isolation. And when you reject help, you're not proving strength. You're choosing a slower, harder path for no reason other than pride. You end up repeating mistakes someone else could have helped you avoid. You spend months or even years learning lessons that could have taken weeks with the right guidance. That's not growth. That's delay. Now, this is where things start to change. Because simply becoming aware of these ideas isn't enough. Understanding your patterns doesn't automatically break them. You have to go deeper. You have to start looking at your life with brutal honesty. Not through the lens of what you intended to do. Not through the lens of how hard you feel like you tried. But through one thing only: results. Because results are neutral. They don't care about your excuses. They don't care about your plans or your potential. They reflect reality. If something in your life hasn't improved over time, then something in your approach isn't working. It's that simple. And here's where most people go wrong. They double down on effort instead of questioning direction. They think, I just need to try harder. But effort applied to the wrong method doesn't move you forward. It just burns more time. Imagine putting all your energy into climbing a ladder, only to realize it's leaning against the wrong wall. That's what happens when you don't stop to evaluate your strategy. So instead of asking, am I working hard enough? Start asking, is what I'm doing actually working? And if the answer is no, then you need the courage to adjust, to change your approach, to let go of what's familiar and try something different. Because growth isn't just about persistence, it's about adaptability. And this goes even deeper than strategy. It touches your identity, the way you see yourself. Most people treat identity like something fixed, like a permanent label. This is just who I am. But that's not true. Who you are is not a fixed state, it's a pattern. A collection of repeated actions, habits, and responses. You are not your thoughts. You are not your labels. You are what you consistently do. So if you want to become someone different, you don't wait for a shift in how you feel. You change what you do, over and over again, until it becomes automatic. Your brain is constantly adapting. It rewires itself based on repetition. Whatever you practice, it strengthens. So if you keep acting in alignment with your old identity, you reinforce it. But if you start acting in alignment with a new version of yourself, even if it feels unnatural at first, your brain begins to adjust. That's how real change happens. Not through sudden breakthroughs, but through consistent behavioral shifts. And this is why protecting your time becomes critical. Because your time is the foundation of your patterns. What you do daily shapes who you become. Not everything deserves access to that. Not every opportunity is actually an opportunity. Not every request should be accepted. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't contribute to your growth, you're unintentionally saying no to something that could. You're trading long-term progress for short-term comfort or approval. And most of the time, you don't even realize you're doing it. You say yes out of habit, out of guilt, out of fear of disappointing someone. But here's the truth. If you don't start protecting your time, no one else will. And this isn't about becoming selfish or disconnected. It's about becoming intentional. There's a difference. Being intentional means you choose where your energy goes. You decide what matters. You prioritize growth over distraction. Because at the end of the day, every hour you spend is an investment. And you need to start asking, is this moving me forward or keeping me in the same place? Now, all of this leads to one thing: action. Because without action, none of this has any value. You can understand every concept. You can agree with every word. But if nothing changes in what you do, then nothing changes in your life. So start small. Start with awareness, but don't stop there. Turn that awareness into something practical. A simple way to begin is with a weekly check-in. Set aside time just once a week to reflect honestly. Ask yourself, what influenced my decisions this week? Which beliefs showed up repeatedly? Did they push me forward or hold me back? What did I actually accomplish? Not what I planned, not what I intended, but what I truly completed. Where did I waste time? Where did I make progress? And most importantly, what needs to change next week? Write it down. Because when you put it on paper, you remove the ability to hide from it. You create clarity. And clarity leads to better decisions. This process doesn't need to be complicated, but it does need to be consistent. Because the more aware you become of your patterns, the easier it becomes to change them. And once you start changing your patterns, you start changing your identity. And once your identity shifts, everything else begins to follow. Ask yourself, what beliefs influenced your decisions this week? Not the obvious ones, not the surface level excuses. Go deeper than that. What were the quiet assumptions running in the background? The thoughts you didn't question, the ones that shaped your choices without you even realizing it? Now ask yourself, were those beliefs actually helping you move forward? Or were they quietly holding you in place? And here's where it gets uncomfortable. What real evidence do you have that those beliefs are even true? Not feelings, not past experiences taken out of context, not something someone once said to you years ago. Actual, solid evidence. Write your answers down. Don't keep this in your head. Put it on paper or somewhere you can clearly see it. Because when you externalize your thoughts, you begin to notice something powerful. Patterns. You'll start to see the same beliefs showing up again and again. The same excuses. The same mental loops. And once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. That's where change begins. Next, challenge your assumptions. Take one belief you feel strongly about, something you've accepted as part of your identity, and flip it. Argue against it. If you believe I'm not disciplined, start building a case for why that might not be entirely true. Look for moments, no matter how small, where you followed through, where you showed consistency, where you did something you didn't feel like doing. Collect that evidence, because your brain has been selectively ignoring it. You've been building a one-sided story, and now you're finally seeing the other side. And once you do, you'll realize something. Your perspective has never been complete. It's been filtered, biased, edited to support the version of yourself you've grown comfortable believing. Now let's make this even more real. Track your behavior. Not what you think you're doing, not what you intend to do, what you're actually doing. Your time, your habits, your effort. Measure them. Because numbers have no emotion. They don't care about your excuses or your self-image. They tell the truth. You might believe you're working hard, but when you track your hours, you may find most of your time slipping into distractions. You might believe you're consistent, but when you look at your habits, you'll see gaps. This isn't meant to discourage you. It's meant to wake you up. Because once you see the truth clearly, you can finally change it. Numbers remove illusion. They replace assumptions with reality. And that's exactly what you need. Now take it a step further. Start demanding proof for every belief you carry. Don't just accept a thought because it feels familiar. Interrogate it. Ask, where's the evidence? If you can't clearly support it with real experiences, repeated outcomes, or objective results, then it doesn't deserve to control your decisions. Most limiting beliefs collapse under simple questioning. They're not built on facts. They're built on moments, often isolated, exaggerated, and repeated until they feel permanent. Break that cycle. And don't do this alone. Seek outside perspective. Because no matter how self-aware you think you are, your view of yourself will always have blind spots. Find someone you trust. Someone who will be honest, not just supportive. Ask them directly, what's something I believe about myself that might not be true? And when they answer, resist the urge to defend yourself. Don't explain. Don't justify. Just listen, because sometimes the truth you need most is the one that challenges you the most. And now we come to the most important part of all. Action. Pick one limiting belief, not 5, not 10. Just one. Something specific, something real. And then do something this week. Something small but intentional that directly contradicts it. If you believe you're not confident, put yourself in a situation where you have to speak up. If you believe you're not disciplined, commit to a simple task and complete it no matter what. If you believe you can't learn something new, spend time actively learning it, without overthinking, without waiting. The goal is not perfection. The goal is disruption. You're interrupting the pattern. You're proving to yourself through action that your belief might not be as solid as it feels. And timing matters. Not next week. Not when things settle down. Not when you feel more prepared. This week. Because delay is the system your old beliefs use to survive. And the longer you wait, the stronger they become. Understand this clearly. Change doesn't come from thinking differently. It comes from behaving differently. Your actions reshape your beliefs, not the other way around. And before you move on, sit with this question. If you continue thinking the way you're thinking right now, for the next 5 years, where will that lead you? Don't answer quickly. Really think about it. Visualize. Really think about it. Visualize it. The habits you repeat, the decisions you make, the opportunities you avoid. Where does that path end? Because time will move forward regardless. 5 years will pass whether you change or not. The only difference is where you'll be when they do. Will you still be stuck in the same cycle? Or will you be somewhere entirely different? Because you chose to act. Your potential hasn't disappeared. It hasn't been lost. It's still there, but it's buried. Buried under layers of doubt, fear, and stories you've told yourself so many times, they've started to feel like facts. But they're not facts. They're narratives. And narratives can be rewritten. That's the power you have. You can keep defending those old stories, protecting them, reinforcing them, living inside them. Or you can start breaking them apart. Slowly, deliberately, one belief at a time, one decision at a time, one action at a time, every single day. Because transformation isn't one big moment. It's a series of small, consistent choices. And every choice either reinforces who you've been or builds who you're becoming. The direction is yours to decide.